Excited about who I have on the show today. I guess I'm always excited, but I'm kind of excited because when I was introduced to this person and saw their biography and went to their website and everything they've done in music. So anyway, I guess I'm just trying to rush. Anyhow, so welcome back to another day in the life of an entrepreneur, the Entrepreneur Life Show, where we stream every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sometimes, we change depending on the guests that we have on the show. For those who have been faithful followers, thank you so much all the time for tuning in and subscribing and liking and commenting on some of, the YouTube guests and whatever. And I do get some of your guys' comments when you're saying, hey, have you thought about getting this person on the show or that kind of person? And yes, we work on getting different types of artists and great guests to bring to you. So if you're tuning in for the first time, check out the entrepreneurlifeshow.com website, and you'll be able to see all of the past guests as well as upcoming guests coming up on the calendar so that you can locate them, tune in, check out what they're doing. We have guests far as back as from 2 years ago, some really amazing guests. So make sure you check out all of the live shows in rotation. You can find us on your Fire Stick TV on Roku. So, hey, download the app and watch us on your TV channel. And I want to thank our sponsor. Make sure you check out shopmystorenow.com. That's shopmystorenow.com. Sponsor for great gift ideas, fashions, jewelry, all that kinds of great stuff. So, who do I have on the show today? Kind of getting housekeeping out of the way. So today's guest you may be familiar with, and you may have seen her when she was in the past. She was with her appearances with Arsenio Hall show, and which is, oh wow, she can really sing. She's got some talent. But she has really a great bio behind her, and I'm excited. I'm sorry, I'm a little patient. I can't wait to have her on the show. Nominated vocalist, jazz singer Marilyn Scott. I mean, she has such a talent, Southern California native. I mean, I don't know, she has a different kind of blend. Let me just get her on the show, then you're going to get what I'm saying and when you hear her stuff. I mean, I just can't say she's a jazz vocalist, a jazz singer, because it's kind of like this mixture of this soul and Brazilian, Spanish. I mean, she's got it going on. Anyway, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Let's bring Marilyn Scott onto the show and introduce her. Hi, how are you?
Good. How everybody? How's it going today?
Oh, gosh. I was excited to have you on. And I would say because when I saw your videos and stuff that you've done and who you've collaborated with, it's kind of exciting. So really exciting.
It is exciting. I mean, I wouldn't take anything back. Nothing.
So I know you're a California native and kind of been through different parts of California, and it's been known that California is very, it's known for creativity. It's multicultural. A lot of your artists come out of there because of the diversity. Do you agree with that statement? And, was being in California, is that where you got your interest in music?
Well, it's a big state, and that's for sure. And it holds so many different kinds of cultures and people and lifestyles. I mean, it fits almost anywhere in the United States. We have a section of it here in California. So yeah, it's a lot of things, and it has a lot of music. I guess, it's funny because I I really got the best start of listening to radio from Oklahoma, and that we used to get from California. I mean, it would come in late at night,
Hmm.
uh, a a black R&B station, and it played all the greatest tunes, and, that's really, I could say that, my mother played Nat King Cole and things like that, but, uh, really radio tipped the dial for me at a young age, and I came from Oklahoma. It's kinda strange, but in those days that you could get a signal at late at night from, uh, the other side, the East Coast, so
Yeah. So I know that what I've read is that because you were influenced by some really, I mean, some really great artists. And I mean, for me, I enjoy music, and people who enjoy music, if you love a diverse, you're really a music lover if you can understand diverse parts of music, because you can create so much knowing different types of genres. And from what I read, where you had really like Aretha Franklin, Anna Hathaway, Etta James. Those are some really influential and hard to follow artists, because
yeah,
they're in their own lane. You know what I'm saying? And so when
they're
I hear your music, and I was listening, as we'll get on to some of your what you've done and what you've written, I can't even say that you're just, I say jazz. So
I
what
think,
led your interest to those specific artists?
all artists are influenced by different genres of music, and, you know, we kinda grow up with all these different styles, and we listen, what we end up writing is something else, or and when I was playing, we played in, like, top 40 bands and stuff, and that you had to play all these different kinds of music because that's what people wanted to dance to and hang out with.
Mhm.
But, I mean, if you asked any of those artists you mentioned, they listen to all different kinds of music. You may not have known it until you read their book, their autobiography or something like that, but really that's their story, and that's all of our stories, that we're influenced by it all. And, and that's great because it forms you, it helps you find your path, your direction.
And those are being some of your influences. And is that what led you to your direction of liking that kind of, I say somewhat, I'm going to say jazz because that is kind of the genre, but really you kind of expanded from that. What was it from those artists that influenced you that said, that's the path I'm going to take? Because you could have chosen many different paths in music, of course.
Well, yeah, I like, there was a lot of people that told me that, "Oh, but you could sing this and you could sing that." But I was always trying to head towards a certain place, and it really started with black music and
Mhm.
blues and R&B music, and I felt that to be a jazz artist, you had to kind of study. You had to really, get there by the hard way. You had to earn it, and I still believe that. For me, I'm not saying that you can go to school and be a jazz artist. Okay, you can, but uh, but that's how I felt, and all the musicians that I hung out with, they kind of felt the same way. It took a while to learn from all those different people that you admired, and not to copy them, but to feel the style in you, and then to form your own. So yeah.
I had some other artists on the show, and I actually had a musician where he actually accompanies performers what he's saying. But I didn't realize that how do I say this? When you're not a musician, obviously, or a singer, um, the musician, the instruments are so different than when it comes to a jazz performer like operatic or anything. You don't use it the same different type of brush from a drum that really emphasizes, what the person is singing to draw them in, because it's more like of a music of feeling versus an emotion versus just like, just hearing the bass or the drum. And so I had to learn about how instruments differ from each type of, I'd say, how you're each performer, and the instruments play a big part in how the person is singing. Because I mean, from from a bass guitar player to someone who has more of electric guitars. Like I didn't realize how important those factors are when you're writing music. Would you say that those are like a big criteria of when you write the music, the instruments that go along with the actual music, they differ?
For sure they do. And it's not really, I mean, you can have anything you want. You can do anything you want, really. But some types of music kind of warrants a feeling, and that feeling might be brought on by a string instrument that is more acoustic, like a acoustic piano or a bass, an upright bass, and it brings in a more of a subdued style sometimes, but not always. I mean, they can be on fire too and playing, and so it's interpretation. It's how that instrument is played, in what I feel, and then whatever your imagination feels. I mean, I have a tune on my new project that he's playing a string upright bass, but it's electric and upright string, and then the music is really strong. So, but we wanted that kind of feeling of the strings in the particular song. We wanted that kind of percussiveness from the instrument.
Right.
So yeah, we thought about it, and we thought, well, this would be really cool to feature in this particular song. Whereas, sometimes I play with a lot of guys that are loud, and so electric instruments that are more conducive to the how it's going to sound to you and how I want to present it. So there's a lot of ways to do it, and these days, there's a lot of samples and things that you can use to introduce within, and that's cool too, and it's exciting because, I mean, like hip hop and everything, they really got into sampling and using different people's music and creating their own and bringing in a little bit of this and a little bit of that to bring back some kind of nostalgia sometimes. And I think it's really, really neat and very, very creative.
So I know from what I've read is that you had some great collaborations and with some great I remember, now I'm in my 50s, so I remember Spyro Gyra. And so definitely a fan. And so I was like, oh yeah, okay. And so Etta James, Caldwell, Bobby Womack, how did that even come into fruition? I mean, that is really that's exciting because those are some really talents right there.
It is, I mean, I got a bunch of stories like that in my path, and I'm so blessed to cross some of those paths. Bobby Womack was somebody that I admired for a long time, and I used to sing his songs in shows, and I like what he had to say. He talked about life. I'm kind of like that. I like to talk about life and what's happening around us, and and love sometimes in a different way. Love that can be hard to get to. Love that is getting away. Love that teaches us something. So it's a different kind of perspective. So I'm drawn to people like that. So when I got an opportunity to work with Bobby, I jumped at it, and he liked me, and so we were able to write together and spend enough time to make a few tunes, and it was a great experience. I wish that I had more time with him. And with Etta James, I'd known her. I used to open shows for her. I had a blues band called the Carlites, and we was horns, and I used to open for her. And I'm one of those kinds of people that if I really enjoy somebody, I try to find a way to them and introduce myself and befriend them, because you're only going to, that's how you're going to learn, is to try to be in front of the people that you admire if you can, and get to know them if they want to know you. So yeah, I got to know Etta really, really well, and she was kind enough to always get me on a show, and always had great advice for me, and we had a lot of laughs, and her career for me was something that just you kind of building blocks of people that you really love. They're building blocks that you put inside you. They're not. I could never put it down like Etta could put it down. But she showed me that there's a path to doing it, and if I really feel it, if I can take that experience that I've had and use it in that tune, that I too can get to that place that I feel from her. So there's a lot of lessons, you know. She took me. She did Telluride Jazz Festival that's happening right now, and I was playing and she was playing, and so I went over to her little trailer and we hung out for a while. And I said, "Did you see that Betty Carter's playing?" And she said, "Oh yeah." She said, "You like her?" And I said, "Oh, yes, you know." And she said, "Well, you want to meet her?" And I said, "Sure." So she takes me out, and she hadn't played yet. And so Betty was on stage, and we go up to where, you know, she's just finishing her set. And so she finishes the set, and we walk up into the back stage where there's a little dressing room behind the stage. And we walk in, and Betty goes, "Girl, what are you doing here?" And she goes, and Etta says, "Yeah, I'm playing, you know," and they're talking and they're having a visit, and Betty goes, "Who's that behind you there?" And Etta says, "Oh, that's Marilyn Scott. She stole all my licks, and she's after yours." And I said, "Oh God, what a way to meet Betty Carter," you know. But she was crazy like that and wonderful. And yeah, I got to meet Betty Carter through Etta James. To me, that's pretty dang cool to have that story, you know, in my memories, you know.
Do you find it more difficult because I know you write, did you find it more difficult to write for yourself and then sing, or write for others or others?
I wrote for others for a long time for a publishing company. And that's okay, but they wanted me to write more in a pop sense, and that was sort of candy to me, you know. And I just got with a lot of people, and I said, they want these kind of tunes, and so we just wrote those kind of tunes. But when I write for myself, it's a deeper thing. It's a deeper consciousness of what I see around me and what I want to say, you know.
I did read somewhere that when you were performing in your early years, that actually I was hoping to hear when you were in like the local clubs, and how now I only know about Tower of Power because of Steve Harvey.
Oh wow!
And so when I saw that, and I was like, what an exciting experience, because was that the moment that opened the door for you? If you can kind of share that of when you were like started, I think that was in Northern California, and you were performing then in the local clubs.
It was a great gig, and they were going to. I had seen Tower Power play many times, and I had played the Fillmore Auditorium, so I knew how to get into the Fillmore. And Aretha was going to play the Fillmore, and Tower Power was going to open. And so I said, this is a good chance for me to go and introduce myself to Tower Power. So I went early and got in like I knew how to get into the Fillmore, and before the Aretha Franklin gig, and introduced myself. And that's how we became friends. And I just would hang out. And pretty soon, you know, he offered me a chance to sing background. I was singing with two other girls, Bucci Anderson and Pepper Watkins. We had a kind of a thing where we would do a lot of backgrounds and stuff together. We were at the time in a play called Selma. That was a musical about Martin Luther King. And so we did a few records. At the time, it was a sweetening that Emilio wanted. on the record of girls, besides the guys singing. So, and it was kind of popular with several of the R&B groups like Spinners and Starlights and things like that. They would bring in girls to kind of sweeten up the backgrounds. So that was Emilio's thought, and so we got to sing on some of the coolest tunes.
Wow.
that Tower is really kind of famous for, and yeah, it opened the door for everything that happened after for me. We got a lot of work. I went on to be able to be an artist myself. Yeah, it did, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying is, the generosity of all of us to pay attention to the people that come before us and say, "Hi, I'm this person, and I sing or I play, and I want to meet you and just say hello and appreciate your music." It's time to stop and talk to them, and get to know these people, because you might want them to play with you. They might need you for something, and they might become some friend that is very important to you. So, that's how I got started.
So how did you end up being on Arsenio Hall? Because it was quite a few, and he was very inspired by you. He spoke very well of you. And how did that happen?
He had on the TV on I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't you. It wasn't. It was a show that plays all these videos and stuff,
like MTV or something like that.
Yeah, it was called. It had a number like 98 or something. And anyway, he was listening to that and walking around the house. And I had a video out of a tune called "You Don't Know Me."
I actually saw that.
Yeah. And that's an old standard song, and Hank Williams song. And so we did it more in a jazz way, and with a tenor solo. And he heard it, and he liked it. And so he asked Dave Koz about it, because Dave was the music director at the time of his show, and Dave and I were real good friends. So Dave said, "Yeah, this is my friend Marilyn Scott," and he's brought me on the show.
And that's where you would say friends and connections. You never know what could happen.
Exactly. I mean, it's all about that, and it's being able to be, that we help each other.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask, because listening to, and I did go and listen to, some of the videos you had out, and I really like it. All seems very transparent music, very relatable, and which I enjoy, and easy to connect with. Some people just listen to the beat because it's just the beat, because they can't relate with the actual words of the song. So when I say like transparent and relatable, it's like that's where you get the feeling and the emotion that you can connect with it, like just about in every piece, which is, to me, that's the experience that I want in music. And I think if you're really an avid music lover, but your sound to me, it's quite unique. So when I say genre, although it's a soulful kind of sound, jazzful, kind of like a little rhythmic, I don't know, Latin, kind of hip, resilient. Do you find that you have to, it's almost sometimes like creating your own genre, like what makes it your longevity so expandable? Because today you see so many artists are just kind of like in and out, doing what the next person's doing, not really having their own unique style. You hear the same exact thing, like I can listen to somebody and go, "Oh, it sounds just like somebody else." You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think some people really click and have a machine behind them that forces that out and into everybody, and they get well known really quick, and they're able to be more visible. I would never had that quite, and I was been floating around for a long time, and I think I'm happy to be where I am, except, because I'm trying to be legitimate to myself. And there, I spent years trying to do things that people suggested that I do, that I could be more I could be famous. But I kind of rejected all that and just said, I'm going to keep hitting this same stone with this same hammer, and I have no regrets, because it's just, I've worked with some beautiful people, and I've been able to write some things that I'm really proud of, and always hoping that down the line there'd be more of a chance for people to see what I'm about. And I think just trying to be honest and speak about people, what they go through, what they feel, and try to be relatable to what we all are, and just present it in really incredible music, brought to you by some great musicians that we all know and love. And I think that's making it. That's success for me, and so I'm really happy about that. And it's only about what you feel that is deep in your heart.
I think that's why so many of our even today, from my kids who are in their 30s, and you'll hear kids in their 20s, that they are you still find people listening to the Whispers, still listening to the the Temptation, because you don't find that kind of art anymore. I mean, it's different. So even your artists today are still pulling all that stuff, even from, a lot of country music, because I like Johnny Winters. I love Johnny Winters. Like, who's I'm like, but I hear some stuff in some rock music, the same as I might hear Johnny Cash. And R&B from soul to rock are still they use the emphasis of even Johnny Cash and Elvis's stuff. So that's why I asked that question.
Everything is relatable these days. And look at what the work that Stevie Wonder has done. And when he speaks to issues, and he speaks about people's turmoil, or speaking to God, he has a way to reaching people that you keep reaching back for that to hear that tune, because it's important. I mean, higher ground is important.
Yeah. So I wanted to, before I get to this next question, because with some other collaboration, because I'm really, your single for Landscape, and I really loved whoever did that video and did the background, just the scenery. It's I guess the title of it goes perfect with the video, but it's very today. It's like almost it makes you want to I don't know. It's kind of, it tells a story, I guess, to me. Good. It's like and it's relevant from like past to what has changed and what's happening today, because you know what I'm saying, from what we could have done in our past, but the change. I hope you don't mind if I just share a little bit of it.
I'd love for you to. Thank you.
So for everybody who may not be watching somewhere, you're watching YouTube or, wherever it's streaming live, but if you're listening on the podcast, you really need to check out the video. There's quite a few videos, but I wanted you to see specifically this one. We're going to share it. You can hear it, and hopefully you all enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it, or that I like it. So let me get it up on the screen really quick for you. I love this right here. And wherever this is,
on Highway 111, clouds of dust, winds that rush to the mountain.
It's just streaming odd.
Snow, mesquite trees and palm shake sand. In this aged celebrity land. or reach your bonds with adobe stalls. Graffiti art speaks on the walls. Whitewater road.
If that cuts out a little bit, sorry, you guys, could just be the internet.
Runs until it's gone.
It's just
I
streaming
love
in.
the background. I really
And the
enjoy
hot
the scenery.
days here have begun.
You have a very monotone, relaxing, solemn
Windmills
sound in your voice
turn with heat.
that I really enjoy that sound that you have. It's how do I say it's monotone, it's relaxing, it's very I mean it's very soulful. It's hard to describe, but it's the mellowness in your voice, I guess.
Oh.
It's very enticing.
All right. Good.
And I'm assuming that's what you meant to pull out of it, but it's a very relaxing song.
Oh, good. Well, it's really about people, that we have a responsibility to this earth, and and I was just talking and describing a desert area that I lived in, and how it is kind of being destroyed by people not respecting it and respecting the earth, and we were born here as hosts of this. We're the most intelligent species, and we're supposed to protect this earth, and it's our responsibility, and it's just about that.
But I enjoy the fact that you also include the cultural differences, because it's related to everyone. Now, I'm very much of I guess because also I'm an earthy kind of person. And people have, if you haven't know people whether they're because of their astrology or whatever, but I know I'm quite an earthy person. But because of when I watch a few of your videos, when I say that they're also relatable, because they're really relatable to anybody, and I say that specific with jazz, you have some upbeat, but it's very, I don't know. For me, when I first started listening to it and I heard it, it gives you a calming feeling, I guess you would
Good.
say. And, maybe that could be the intention, but it's really lovely. I mean, I really enjoy listening to it.
Oh, it's sweet. Thank you so much.
And I know you have quite a bit of where people can get a snippet of what they're listening to on your website. I wanted to ask, what would you say your most memorable moment in your achievements on your journey? And whether that be you were able to collaborate with somebody or people, or was it just something else, and finally, getting to the point where you're making your own music,
Well, I think collaborating is key for any musician. With making and getting out your sound, or helping others with their interpretations of their music. Collaborations is what makes everything exciting. So I've had some beautiful collaborations, which is Russell Ferranti and Jimmy Haslip, both former and present members of the Yellowjackets, have been my family since 1980. So we've written a lot of music together. We've walked a lot of paths together in music, and that's really been important to me. And I think meeting and working with George Duke was a very important path for me. And I shared a lot of work with him, and he is just a beautiful, incredible jazz musician and writer, prolific, and he's missed so much. I miss him so much, and I would say those types of writing collaborations for me have made it all the difference. And there's others too, for sure. I'm
And I know you collaborated with Patrice Rush, right?
Yeah, Patrice has been, of course, Patrice's career has been unbelievable, and I got to share a few moments with her as a producer, arranger,
Oh,
and it's just been that's been a beautiful, and I hope that I get to do that again with Patrice. I really do. That's still on my list is to before I go out of here. I would love to get back with Patrice because I really appreciate her work and her arrangements are just incredible.
so when it comes to your writing, because obviously now I didn't realize you also produce and everything else. Um, what would you say that inspires you in your music in general, or is it just something different that said, okay, now you're going to create a new single or an album based off a different inspiration?
That's a good question because I think when you get inspired by something, and this last project I was inspired by the moment that we were in, which was COVID. We were all stuck
Right,
at home,
right,
and I was seeing a lot of people with a lot of discontent in the world, not just only because of COVID,
right, right.
politically and what we were going through is in the world. And I thought it would be a really good time to talk about those issues, about whatever we have or don't have. There are ways to find contentment, to find relief, to find
Mhm.
an answer in nature. If we could just do those things, whether it be going to the beach or going uh, out your front porch and grabbing a chair and sitting down and watching the sun go down. The wilderness can be in a very crowded space, in a very crowded street. You can still make it your wilderness. And the subject matter for me is all about that. For this project, and how I got there was because of what we were going through as a people. So and before that, it's usually I throw in one or two songs that have to do with um, the sort of the plight of man,
Mhm.
what we go through, whether it's getting out of your car and trying to go to a 7-Eleven
Right.
in the middle of the night, or what taking love and putting it far away because you've been burned by it. I wrote a tune called Icebox, and
Yeah.
Icebox is about a guy that has been burned so bad that he wrapped it, and he put it in the freezer, and never to be seen again. I mean, he put it away so far in his head that he wasn't going to reach for it again, and I called it the Icebox. So I mean, it's pitiful, but it's a song that we can all relate to because
Yeah.
haven't we done that before? Haven't we
Right.
been so discouraged that we go,
Right.
I'll never do that again? But
Yeah.
of course we do, but we get so negative that we stop all positive thinking. So I mean, I try to choose things like that I watch people go through and write about them in a way that is important for all of us.
Mm.
It's not, I never try to be preachy or anything. I try to just talk about my own situation and what I've seen with other people and how that relates to me and everybody.
If you had to take, if there was any bit of advice or recommendation that you would have received from any particular person you've collaborated with, or even just that they were your, people that influenced you, you may not have even met, um, that inspired you, what advice would you say that you've taken that's helped you along your journey?
Well, as in any artist, even if it's dancing or painting but I'm in music, it's kind of lonely sometimes because we're not always appreciated, and our heads get to us, and throw in this negative stuff sometimes, and so it's hard to be an independent person and survive. And I think, the best advice I could give is that we have to persevere and we have to be true to ourselves as independent artists and fight the fight and stay with it, because there's messages, there's an opening to show and be and let people see who and what you are, and to give, without being really corny, to give the world. So, you paint something really beautiful, you're giving that to somebody that's going to walk in front of it, and it's going to inspire them. You write a beautiful song, whatever it tempo and genre it is important, because it's going to reach somebody and say something to somebody and mean something to them that's going to help change them in a positive way. So it's that I just say that struggle of being an independent artist is very difficult, and that I encourage all people out there having a hard time to stay with it, to stay with it and endure it.
I want to make sure, before, I know we're getting close to the end of the show, but if there's anything else coming up, but I do want people to definitely, if you guys go to the website, the full interview will be there, and how you can connect and actually get Marilyn's music. But it all is really today. Very, very enjoyable. I'm not saying that because you have a guest on the show, because if you've seen any of my shows, I really like certain type of music that tell a story. That. And because it's hard for me now, not because of my age, because I like all music.
Sure.
But music that really did last for a long time is really inspiring. But I want to make sure people know where they can actually locate you, hear you in all the different outlets that you have. But go to the website, really, they can really tune in if you can kind of share where they can find you.
Well, MarilynScott.com is there for everybody to dig into if you'd like, and it tells about the gigs, it tells about things that we've just discussed, and it holds a lot of the music that you can go and listen to and see if you like it and maybe want to keep it for yourself. Then I'm on Spotify, I'm on SoundCloud and Apple Music and Amazon, things like that, and I hope to be playing live here. We got some things coming, so it'll be coming down the tube here pretty soon. Everything that's going to happen for me is going to be more in the fall and winter. So, but I'm excited, and I'm really excited about taking some of these folks with me that played and playing live and seeing what happens with these tunes. That's what I'm really looking forward to. So if you have a chance to be near a place where I'm playing, please come out and say hello. Reach out. That'd be great. And I appreciate today. This is a great questions. You did some really great questions. Oh my God. Thank you.
When I'm really liking the people I have on the show. But I did want to ask this, I meant to ask this. If there's someone that you could collaborate with today that you have not done so with yet.
Who would it be?
Or write for, even if it's not singing for them, maybe you're singing as they're playing, or you're writing for.
Oh, you know what? I'm a big instrumentalist person. I really like instrumental music where it evokes always a melody.
Yeah.
And I'm so intrigued by some people that how they come up with these beautiful melodies. And so I'd love to work with Brad Mehldau. I'd love to work if Lyle Mays was alive. I would have loved to have been next to him somehow and been with him. There are people that excite me that are like that, and great writers. So, and I have to say, I'm a friend of Brenda Russell's, and she and I have written many things. And Brenda and I are going to write again, and I'm hoping that we do that real soon. And so, Brenda, get ready. Let's go.
Well, I'm sure we're going to definitely hear more of you, see more of you. And of course, if we check the website, then we'd be able to check when you have upcoming appearances or anything, I can assume. So if I'm in Vegas, although I also transitioned to Texas, New Braunfels, Texas.
Right.
But yes, it would be great seeing you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. You all stay safe.
And for everybody who has been faithfully always tuning in, thank you so much, because the show would not be here without me working with great publicists who always bring me really great people for the show. And then, of course, for everybody who continued to subscribe, asking for more and different types of guests on the show, how I appreciate you, because I see, because I see some of these comments to the left, so I see you. I'm not trying to ignore you, but I see who you are on the podcast. Thank you. And so you can watch the full interview, which will always be on the website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. You'll also be able to see it on your Roku stick or Fire Stick, wherever it is. But just go ahead and check out the website, and you can see where you can connect with Marilyn, watch the interview, and all the other platforms are streaming. So until next Thursday, thank you, everyone, again for tuning in. I hope you come back, and new subscribers. And thank you again for being on the show, Miss Marilyn. Thank you so much.